the many, yeah. You know, I'm kind of a believer of, you know, if you make it, they will come, or they will buy, or something like that. But we had issue 1 done. Again, it started off as really a passion project. During COVID, my husband said, you know, this passion project of yours is costing a lot of money. When are you going to start making money? And I'm like, oh, I have to make money at this. Okay. So I guess I have to get the comic book in comic book stores. And so I love listening to Katie because I'm on the other side. So I started calling comic book stores and I said, hey, you know, I'm an indie publisher. You know, I've got this great book. Let me tell you about it. And they're like, oh, no, stop. Stop right there. You're indie. We don't carry indies. They just don't sell. You know, I had so many comic book store owners, most of them now, tell me that they don't take indies. So I said, you know what? Let me do this a different way. You know, to Liz's point about intuition, and you know, I think women, you know, we are very much about relationships, and so I started walking into all these comic book stores, and I said, hey, I'm a comic book publisher. Here's my comic, and I had them look at it, and they're like, oh, this isn't what I thought you were all about, and I'm like, yeah, try us out. So then we started very slowly but surely getting these comic book stores to take our book on consignment, and then, oh, all of a sudden they started selling. And so the second, third time we would go in there, they're like, oh, we don't need to do it on consignment, we'll just buy them. Because we know that they can sell. And it literally was just going in and guerrilla marketing, believing in what your product was, and you know, kind of sticking to it, to say, hey, you know, look at this. It's not just a typical indie. Had a great store, we had great artists, the 9 yards. And that was kind of our biggest challenge, to finally just kind of break through that, until we actually did get a publisher that said, oh, you have something here. And, you know, so now we are in bookstores, well, I don't know if it's still around.
No. There are new names, Alliance Entertainment. We're all working on that. Comic industry's a little in flux right now. We'll see what next Tuesday's like.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we have our issues now in graphic novel format. So, you know, we're in the Barnes and Nobles now, the Amazons, in the Philippines, it's called Fully Booked. But yeah, that was our biggest challenge, was getting people to actually say, yeah, I'll take a chance on you guys.
I am going to sort of wind us down a little bit just so we have a chance for Q&A. What are current projects that everybody has going on, and how can they find you?
We have a project that's going to launch pretty soon on Kickstarter called That Sexy Bear, which sounds completely insane, because I assure you it is. Yeah, it's by Owlin, which is a two-person team, JB3 and Lynn Geisel. They've worked with Iron Circus before on the book How Do You Smoke Weed, which we put out when cannabis was being legalized across the country, and it educated people about different strains and, you know, different effects and stuff like that. But That Sexy Bear, if you can imagine, Yogi Bear was a maid in booty shorts, and Boo Boo was a gigantic muscle mommy named Yaya, and they stole picnic baskets from influencers, and they had completely forgotten to be a bear, how to be bears, so they were subsisting off of trash and misery in a cave somewhere filled with Funko Pops, while being involuntarily turned into influencers themselves by mysterious marketing men in a black sedan. That is That Sexy Bear. It's completely.
Katie needs a moment. We might have to I think her brain exploded.
Owlin, yeah. And the crowdfund for that, the preview page is up on Kickstarter right now. It is honestly one of the strangest things I've published in a long time. I don't think you'll be sorry if you check it out.
Hell yeah.
I have several things. If you're a person who buys books, you can go to shop.bookswithpictures.com and find our catalog online, where you can buy books from me, which I highly encourage, because that's how I eat. If you are a creator and you like going to small shows, our annual convention is coming up at Books with Pictures. We close the street, we have tables. Last year there was a terrible freak rainstorm, but in general the weather's very nice. The show is at the end of May. the show's at the beginning of June. Applications close on the 30th of this month, so if you go to bookswithpictures.com, you can find the application for that show. We'd love to consider your work. It's juried, so anyway, that is a thing. And third, if you were an educator or a librarian, I would love to tell you more about the Graphic Novel Library Project, which is this nonprofit that I'm director of. It says director on the, I believe it. Thank you.
The Mask of Halia Volume 2 is now currently on Kickstarter. We're at our last 5 days. It's fully funded, so go check it out. Fully funded within the first 5.5 hours, so thank you to whoever already backed it. Yay! We'll be debuting Volume 2 at San Diego Comic-Con if anyone will be there later in the summer this year. Volume 1 covers issues 1 through 5 of our series. Volume 2 is 6 through 10. 200-page deluxe graphic novel. Looks beautiful. I say it looks great as a coffee table book after you're done reading it. It has a behind-the-scenes art book with how we created the art. A lot of our artists are in the Philippines, so it was really important that we supported our local artists out there. A lot of people don't know that a lot of animation, Marvel, DC artists are all sourced. The artists are based in the Philippines, so really important to highlight them and their talented work. The Mask of Halia is a dark, supernatural urban fantasy series about a young Filipino-American girl who goes back to the Philippines for her grandmother's funeral, and there she discovers her ancestral lineage to the Filipino Bicolano lunar moon goddess Halia and her arch nemesis, the Bakunawa, who is a giant sea serpent who ate 6 of the 7 moons in the sky. Halia was the last lunar moon goddess remaining, and every once in a while, Bakunawa will return and try to eat the last lunar moon goddess Halia, and that's why there's a lunar eclipse in the sky. And we're also available to read for free Vertical Scroll on the Hello Hello app, out now for you on Apple and Google Play Store.
And you can find me at spankspr.com. I do every kind of aspect of public relations, as well as social media, as well as branding. If it's not creative, come find me. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi. So I just started my own publication company with my husband about last June, and I did find that because we've been in the industry like 10 years, and we found that it wasn't easy, but it's not that hard, right? Right?
That's a very way to put it.
Yes.
But I'm interested in knowing, like, is there a tool or a resource or like a software that you really rely on to like make it happen?
To what aspect? Accounting?
Whatever aspect. Like for me, it's Excel spreadsheets and paper and pencil, but I'm just interested how you get it done.
Everything that Iron Circus does at this point is run through Slack, and we have all it takes like 12 people to run Iron Circus right now, and like I think out of all those people, like 3 live in Chicago. So Slack has been pretty indispensable. Also, I don't know if it's still out there. It couldn't hurt to look. What really helped us early on is there is a spreadsheet out there. It might be a Google Doc or something that is all indie-friendly comic shops.
Oh, I have that list.
Oh, so it's still there as a current?
Mine is.
Right on.
And remember that also, we've been talking about comics. There's no such thing as just a comics fan. There's comics fans and games fans and toy fans and everybody. There's a little collaboration. So, while you're getting to know your story, you also want to get to know who are the people that you're working with, who is your local store, what are they into.
Before Iron Circus got distributed by Ingram, what we did was our own distribution. We basically hit up that list and sent everybody on it 2 or 3 PDFs of our latest publications. And we said, if you like what you see, no pressure, here's a link to our online store, and here's a retailer-only coupon code. You can buy whatever you want. If you use this coupon code, you get 50% off. And so we were eventually distributing independently to like 45 different comic shops that way. And it got to the point where we couldn't handle all the work we were getting, and that's why we went with a professional distributor, because we had built up a bunch of people who were already willing to buy from us. And that's sort of like guerrilla marketing. Exactly. That's the sort of guerrilla marketing that is really effective when you're small. You have to send out postcards to shops and say, hey, look, we're a new publisher, and this is the kind of thing we publish, and here's a QR code, and if you get this, you can read, a PDF of our latest book. And if you like it, you know, at the end of that PDF, you know, there's a coupon code, retailer only, stuff like that. You have to kind of put the work in yourself. And it's really helpful when you want to sort of level up to essentially come with a dowry. Like say, hey, we've proven we sell, here's a list of people who already buy from us. We're not here so you can make us successful.
We already are
We're
successful.
here because we need help handling all our success.
And that is the story that sells is a story that you're confident in.
Yeah.
So, my running joke with everyone, and it is a joke that also works, is execute with confidence, even when you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Right on.
Because neither do they.
I will also say little tech piece, which is that when I started doing, God, 3 projects ago, 20 years ago, MailChimp was free. Or at least there was a model of MailChimp that was free, and I stuck with MailChimp because it was the thing I knew how to use, and with the size of my mailing list, I was, as of whatever, 9 months ago when I stopped using them, paying them about $150 a month, which is a lot to pay for the privilege of writing emails to your own customers.
But it's worth it. It's so
Well,
worth
so
it.
what I wanted to say is that I have switched to a tool called MailerLite, Lite, MailerLite.com, which does all the functionality that I needed on MailChimp and is about a third the cost.
I'm on vertical response.
There you
so
go.
I want to check yours out.
So in
There you
terms
go.
of like, there is so much in business, there are so many moving pieces that you tend to let things run on inertia when you
Yeah.
figured out how they work and you just let them go. And established companies like MailChimp can take advantage of you because you are not keeping an eye on that cost because it costs what it always costs and it can run away from you and then you go back and you're like, how am I spending $150 a month on my mailing service? That seems silly. It's my emails, so giving that's a good piece.
We have an annual review every year on what our outflow is and what the response back is. And like our mailing service, it costs us we're billed annually for like $875, and we keep an eye